Welcome to another episode of Life and Whiskey. As always, I'm Jordan, and today we are going to check out Laphroaig 10 Cask Strength Whiskey. We just came off the heels of the Sherry Oak Finish Laphroaig 10. This is another bottle that my wife picked up for me on her travels. She picked it up for $89.99 Total Wines in Indiana. You know how somebody really loves you when they fly back from a destination location with $350 worth of liquor in possession, and they manage to get it all back without breaking any of it or having any of it stolen by TSA. So, pretty exciting there. This Laphroaig is 58.6% ABV, 117.2 proof. Original cask strength. Let's see, we got flavors, yada yada. We'll figure out what the flavors are when we crack into it. They recommend, right here it says, we recommend that you add twice as much water as whiskey to fully appreciate the taste characteristics. So they want you to proof it down. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through. We're going to go not proof down. Because that's just not how I roll most of the time. But you know what? I haven't done it on camera at all. I have not added any water at any point in time to a whiskey yet. So we'll do that, but we'll go through full strength first, 117 proof. You know, that's up there, but it's not inconceivable by any means. I got several whiskeys that are running in the cask strengths that are in the 120s. I have a corn whiskey. Actually, I have some in my flask over here that I had with me at elk camp this year. That's running 142 proof. So, you know, it's up there, but it's not outrageous. And that corn whiskey is pretty outstanding as it kind of drinks in the like 90 range, even though it's so high. So I just got a drop of whiskey from touching the neck of the bottle on my hands. I'm going to rub my hands together and evaporate all of that off, and that should leave just the smell of the whiskey on there. Get a nice oak characteristic with a little bit of smoke in there. That's a good one. So this is another good trick. If you just get a little bit of whiskey on your hands, rub it together until it's completely evaporated. What you're left with then are all the oils and phenols and all the different components of the whiskey left on your hands as that ethanol evaporates and the water evaporates. That's a great way to really get some nosing characteristics out of a whiskey. This particular one, when I do it, I just get oak, like the inside of an oak barrel with some smoke, a light char to it. If you put your hands together, I get a little bit of earthy peatiness, but not a whole lot. Anyways, we're really going to explore this whiskey, I guess, today. I wasn't planning on doing that. What did I just say? $89.99. The more expensive Laphroaig that I have currently. But hey, you know what? At a cask strength, it gives you a lot of options to do several different things. Proofing it down and really exploring it is one of the great things you can do with it. So, on the nose, at full strength, I get a lot of ethanol in there. It's not bitey or burny to the nostrils. It's just, that's what it seems to be covering up a lot of nosing characteristics. I get a little bit of iodine. I get that same wood oakiness and smokiness that I found in my hands when I rubbed it together. I'm almost getting a tobacco, like a dried leaf tobacco. Like before it's processed. It's just, if you walk to a tobacco barn where the tobacco's just drying without any, where it's curing down and you don't have any, processing going on to it, kind of that smell. trying to get a sweet note out of there, but really struggling to find one. There's almost like a, I don't know how to describe it, but it's going to be a weird descriptor. So imagine all of those carbonated flavor waters that are unsweetened. So there's no sugars of any sort, and there's just carbonated water that has a flavoring added to it. I'm getting a vanilla out of the glass that is similar to that. It doesn't smell sweet and syrupy and sugary at all, but it's definitely the smell of vanilla. But that ethanol is really, really dominating. Get a little bit of that peat even is not overwhelming in the glass. The earthiness is pretty strong, but not smoke. So when I'm saying peat in this instance, I mean the peat smoke is not overwhelming. Like really, smoke in general is not the dominant nosing note. So let's go on the taste. Very ethanol forward, a little bit bitey, but only for a couple of seconds. Moves into smoke and dry, very mouth dry feel. Very dry mouth feel. Yeah, that's what I want to say. The smoke is like a very dry wood campfire smoke. So like say the wind shifts and you're having a bonfire in the summer, and the air's dry, everything's dry. It's not a wet, rainy night or anything like that while you're camping. It's just a very dry smoke. Goes in there. You pick up a nice sweetness in the mid palate with a dry mouth feel at the same time. But that smoke, wood smoke, is carrying from start to finish. Touch of salt on the end, a little bit of brininess, like walking along the ocean. Maybe if you were not on the ocean, you were a couple of miles from the ocean, and you catch a little bit of that damp ocean air every now and again. Nose hasn't changed, so I would agree maybe with their comments about water, because it seems like the ethanol, it's not a struggle to drink and it's not burning, but the ethanol is definitely covering up a lot of the flavor or a lot of the notes in the nose and on the taste, because it seemed to be the very first thing that hit me was that ethanol, and it was only for a split second before it went smoke, and then that kind of hid the rest of everything else. Going back into the glass on the nose, I'm getting just like peat bog, which I get out of a lot of Laphroaig. Like standing on the edge of a swamp. Takes me back to farm back in the Midwest, where I hunted a lot. It was always swampy. I get a lot of that in the glass. Second sip. Again, very ethanol forward, goes retronasal right away, so you swallow it and the alcohol comes right back up, kind of burns the back of your nasal cavity. Smoke hits you pretty hard. Again, campfire smoke. This time I'm picking up a sweet, almost caramel vanilla right after the initial smoke, so like beginning of the mid palate. And then it gets into this savory smoked ham, smoked meatiness, where smoked ham's probably the best, where you get like it's smokiness, it's meatiness, but you also get some salt, so like salt cure mixed in there. So like a really like smoked ham is the best way to describe it, or even like a honey smoked ham, because you do get a touch of that sweetness in there. That pushes forward. The wood smoke picks back up as the dominating characteristic on the finish. Again, a very, very dry mouthfeel. Very, very dry white wine mouthfeel. And some saltiness on the tail end of that finish. So it is changing a little bit. We are going to drop some water in here. Hey, I got a couple of syringes here. We're going to put just a couple of drops of water in there, because I don't have a whole lot of alcohol left in there. So they said a 2-to-1 or a 1-to-2. What did they say? Add twice as much water as whiskey. So 2-to-1 water to whiskey. I just put a couple of drops in there. Kind of opened up a more honey in the glass. So I still get that boggy peatiness, but I get a honey in there. Those couple of drops probably dropped this alcohol down. If it's at 117, I probably only dropped it down to like maybe 110, if that. I mean, that much water. I did 3 drops, didn't really do a whole lot. But it's bringing out this sweet honey caramel on the nose. The peatiness is starting to dissipate. If I really get in there, I get some swamp bog in there. On the palate, went all sweet. Vanilla caramel up front. Tannic oak in the middle. Kind of an astringent tannic oak. And then that transitions into oak wood fire smoke. A little bit of saltiness, but that pushed all those sweet notes forward. And they started to push into a little bit of a candied sweetness on those notes. So very, very pleasant from that respect. I got just a little bit left in there. We'll put a few more drops in there. This will probably drop the proof down to I probably dropped it down to like the mid-90s right there. I'll swirl that around a little bit. See what we did on the nose. It almost is floral, like walking into a florist's shop. There's no specific floral note, like it's not rose or carnation or anything like that. It's just that overwhelming floral smell, and it's just as distant. You know how when you smell flowers, at least for me, often I have to like stick my nose in that flower to really, really smell it. The aromatic's not very, very, very high, and so I almost got a touch of that to start with, which is interesting. It's kind of mixing with that iodine in there. I can see how those two kind of come together, and you can find parts and pieces of that in each one. Still swamp bog in there, so that's that peatiness. Nothing's dominating, everything's really subdued. The ethanol's really tamped down in the nose. And now, little man's up. So last review here, last sip. Very similar to the first time. Even more sweetness got pushed forward, even more vanilla caramel in there. Very sweet, very sugared. Before you kind of go into this iodine, again, if you've ever camped in the backcountry, you know what iodine tablets for purifying water probably taste like. You get a pretty good hit of that iodine. Then some wood smoke, almost like a wood burning pen wood smoke. Again, a very dry smoke, and then it goes into a nice, sweet, salty, like salted caramel finish with a dry tongue. So there you go. There is Laphroaig cash strength, $89.99 total wine in Indiana. Excellent whiskey, another excellent whiskey, I should say, by Laphroaig. Really, really enjoy it. Worth exploring. Definitely get a fuller glass than what I had. Work your way through it, proof it down, multiple different levels, just a couple drops at a time, to really experience all the different flavors that whiskey has to offer. Again, check me out on minds.com and bitchute.com, as well as on YouTube. Greatly appreciate everybody who has subscribed. If you haven't already, please consider liking, subscribing, hitting the notification bell. On YouTube, videos drop on Saturdays. BitChute and Minds, I drop videos on Wednesdays and Saturdays, unless I'm not present. yeah, drop in the comments down below what you can find a bottle of Laphroaig cask strength for in your area, as well as any experiences you have with either Laphroaig in general or Laphroaig cask strength more specifically, or any cask strength with whiskeys for that matter. Boy, I'm going all Chevy Chase on this one. Yeah, you know, I just like to hear what you guys have to say. I enjoy the interactions I've had so far with commenters thus far, and I appreciate everybody helping me grow the channel. It's been a lot of fun. So, please continue to do so, and as I said in previous videos, I'm going to look at checking out putting together a Rumble account as well. Next videos will be at a different shooting time. I think I'm just going to do the 2 Laphroaigs this time. Next set of videos will be this Compass Box Explorers Pack. It has the Peat Monster, Spice Tree, and the Spaniard as the 3 varieties in here. We'll look at those individually, and then we'll also look at them head to head to kind of cross compare them. That'll be the next set of videos that I shoot, and as always, thanks for watching. You guys have yourselves a great day. Catch you in the next video.